Good day, everyone. This is Cbasszu. Doing this video for a quick guide for PvP Holy Priest specifically. I wanted to take a moment to apologize for not being active on Twitch and or YouTube for the last probably year and a half. We got our house built and the internet is absolutely garbage. If we look at my MS right now, it seems to be fine, but that's the thing, it really jumps from 80, 90 to like 350, 400. So sometimes it's practically impossible to do anything that's rated in PvP. With that being said, this season I got to 1959, as you can see, as Holy Priest. Um, I My goal is to get to 2100 before the end of this season. I think it's absolutely doable as long as my internet is on my side. So in this video, I'm going to talk about talents. Well, talents I use, a legendary I use, my conduits, and composition. I don't think Holy Priest is that limited in terms of composition when it comes down to 2v2. I think in 3v3 it might be a little bit more cookie cutter if you allow me. But without further ado, I'm going to jump right straight into the normal talents, and then we're gonna go into PvP talents. The first row, I personally always go with Renewed Fate. Having a 10% increase in healing for all targets who have Renew, I think is very good. If you're having mana issues, I think Enlightenment is decent. There is Trail of Light that's okay. I mean, this whole row I think is, I don't think you can pick a wrong talent, but in my opinion, Renewed Faith is definitely. I think you get more for your buck, if that makes sense. For the level 25 row, I kind of like to switch around between Body and Soul and Angel's Mercy, just because it gives you that more often Desperate Prayer. But I mean, Desperate Prayer I think is really good, but at the same time, like if you were a Necrolord Priest, I would definitely use that to increase your health, and then use the shield on that, because like it goes from 54 I believe to like almost 68,000, so it's definitely worth it. So Necrolord having that I think will definitely help. Anyways, this bro I don't think is very important, or I don't think choosing Angelic Feather is going to make you. I think Angelic Feather is pretty good because it gives you those extra speed buffs or whatever you want to call it, but personally having an extra button or an extra global cooldown to go through, I don't think it's really worth it in my opinion. So I like to go with Body and Soul. So whenever I apply Power Word Shield, I get increased movement by 40% for 3 seconds. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 deal. Yeah, that's it for 25. The level 30 row, I never really switch out of Guardian Angel. It's just so good. So if you use your Guardian Spirit and it doesn't proc, so essentially if their target doesn't die, then instead of having a 3-minute cooldown, it becomes a 60 seconds or 1-minute cooldown. So it's kind of good, against Rogue Mage and stuff. You use Guardian or whatever it may be, like a lot of burst. They come in like every minute or every like 40 seconds or something. So using Guardian Spirit on those cooldowns will definitely help you a lot. And yeah, level 35 row. I always go with Censure. Shining Force could be good, and we're not gonna get into RBGs, but Shining Force can be good in RBGs and on the map where the bridge. I always forget the name of the map. Blade Edge, maybe. Honestly, I don't know. I'm really bad with map names, but that's basically the only time I would probably use Shining Force. But even then, I don't use it. Psychic Voice, reducing your fear cooldown by to 30 seconds. I mean, it's okay, but personally, you have to get in their face, right, with fear. So I like to play with Censure, so my damage doesn't break Chastise, and Chastise is now 4-second stun instead of a name cap, I believe. To me, I think that's definitely good because you use your Chastise and then you use your Smite to reset your Chastise, and Apotheosis, which we're going to talk a little bit later on. Whenever you use that, it also resets it. So it's all to me, it's you get way more for your money, if that makes sense. Level 40 Surge of Light, I think, is a no-brainer. So your healing spells and might have a chance, basically 8% chance to make your next flash heal instant, and cost no mana, stacks to 2. Whenever we go into my legendary stuff, you'll see why this is even more important to me. Level 45 row, Benediction. I mean, this row, Halo's good to like break out stealthies and stuff, but once again, it's not really something you get much out of. So I like to go with Benediction. Um, your prayer mending has a 25%, so every 4 prayer mending, technically, you should be getting a renew. Um, it's just that extra, right? I mean, Divine Star could be used as well, but once again, we go back to another spell, another GCD, right? Level 50 row, I go with Apotheosis. I never spec out of this. I mean, Apotheosis is just so good. Bind it with Miracle Worker, your PvP talents. It's just, you'll never go out of that. Personally, I never go out of that. My actual not PvP talent, but my normal talent rarely will change. It's almost like a cookie cutter, in my opinion. I mean, that's what I've been playing with. Don't quote me. It might not be the best, but it's definitely the build I like to play with. Now let's move on to PvP talents. My first PvP talent, Greater Fate, I never spec out of that. Never. It's just so good to be able to fade CCs, fade damage. You know, it's just so powerful. So I definitely will never spec out of that. Um, Outside of Greater Fade, the only other one that I will never, obviously there's only 3 options, but the other one that I will never spec out of is Miracle Worker. Having 2 Charge of Serenity is just so good. So essentially, if you use 2 Charge of Serenity, Apotheosis, and then you have a third one, so it's a lot of instant healing that you have combined it with Guardian Spirit. Should you need like some instant heals, right? Um, and obviously the cooldown is reduced by 20%, so it's a 48-second per charge, which to me is very powerful. Now the talent that does change quite often, or kind of as you go, is the middle one. Obviously it doesn't matter the row or the order you have them in, but let's look at Cardinal Mending. I haven't been using it as much lately, because I realized that, so if you read this, Prayer Mending's healing is increased by 50% and its jump range is increased by 10 yards. When you read that, to me, I understood that Prayer Mending's healing was increased by 50% flat out. But from experiencing it and talking to other holy priests, from what we understand is, or for what you could see, is that Prayer Mending initial heal is increased by 50%. So let's say I cast it on me, that 50, the first heal is 50% greater, which if we look at my healing from, let's say, last game, I was shadow for BGs, but essentially you're looking normally like Prayer Mending, and I use it almost on CD. You're like between like 20 to 25 at most percent of your healing done by Prayer Mending. So I don't think running this is the best. What I like to kind of play around with is Holy Word, if it isn't a class that can purge. So like Resto Shamans, Priests, mages, stuff like that can purge it off. But even then, you could always use it and just kind of line of sight. At least it prevents any CCs. It makes them use a global right to be able to dispel it. So it does do that, and it's every 30 seconds. So it's very powerful. Pardon me. What's really good to me is Sanctified Ground. Every time you use Holy Word Sanctify, essentially it puts down like a little, I don't know, like star or something on the ground. And essentially what that means is everyone that stands in there cannot be interrupted or silenced for 5 seconds. So you can free cast. So that's definitely really good, especially fighting against double melee. Like, let's face it, if you fight Warrior and Ret, you need to get some heals off, and they do so much damage, and even Apotheosis and double or triple Serenity and Guardian sometimes is just not enough. So having that or the luxury to be able to free cast for at least 5 seconds to me is very important. They changed it before. It was a separate spell, so you have to click it or bind it and then have that. But now that it's combined with Holy Word Sanctify, it's really good because it's 2 for 1 once again. I've seen a lot of a Holy Priest kind of play around with Tot Steel, Divine Ascension, and Ray of Hope. I think those are the like most popular. I don't think Improved Master Spell is that good just because of the amount of mana it uses, like 4,000 mana. Um, you don't really want to be spending that much mana for Master Spells. So yeah, Greater Heal I don't think is used anymore. It's a way too long of a cooldown, or not cooldown, but it is a cooldown, but also a cast. So I think it comes down to Holy Word, Sanctified Ground, maybe Ray of Hope, Tot Steel, and Divine Ascension. I personally will play Holy Word, Sanctified Ground, a little bit of Cardinal Mending, but I'm trying to kind of lean towards something else. I'm just trying to figure out what's best for me. Ray of Hope I haven't been using myself, but I might try and experience that a little bit once I get to, let's say, 2K or whatever. Maybe even before, just test it out. But that's basically it for talent wise. Um, let's talk about Covenants. Now, Covenants, I think top three is definitely Ventir, and then probably Necrolord and Night Fae. I think Night Fae and Necrolord are kind of hand in hand, like close, kind of equals. Um, but personally, having Mind Games is just so good, and then combine that with my conduits, I think it's just so powerful. It's like more damage and more. Basically, it makes that spell even more effective, if that makes sense. I like to combine, so like let's say I want to kill a target or even just put pressure out. I'll mind games the target, get a dispel, and then I'll use shackles on the target, so it kind of puts that like second reduced in healing, right? So and then most classes, if they already use a dispel, they have like a 4 second or whatever it may be dispel. I don't even know, 8 seconds. So yeah, 8 seconds. You have plenty of time to get a full shackle out. So it's kind of a good win condition in my opinion. It puts a lot of pressure, puts them on their toes. But yeah, that basically does it for the Covenant. In terms of conduits, I don't have the best conduits. I am aware of that, but I will go through what I have. Obviously, I'm running with Nija. The first conduit is a potency conduit. Like as I was saying, mind games is really powerful. So this one makes mind game last as 2 seconds longer and deals an additional almost 20%. And reversed an additional 19.5 damage or healing as well. So to me, that's just a no-brainer. Put that in there. It's so good, and you never really get out of that. After that, what I have is mental recovery. After a psychic scream ends, affected target's moving speed is reduced by 30% for 5 seconds. So it's always good, like especially against double melee. You like double or triple fear whatever you're playing, and then you have time to kind of get away. Ideally, you want to like maybe fear and then gate away, door shadow away. So they get slowed, and by the time so most times they won't even chase you unless you're low, right? After that, Light's Inspiration, so Desperate Prayer heals you for an additional 6%. I mean, that's just what I have. I don't think it's the best. I'm sure I could find something better, but it works, right? Increase healing, so why not? This conduit is actually pretty good. So casting Holy Word spell increases the healing of your next heal or flash heal by 53.2%. Now I'll get back into that after once I go over my legendary, but as you can see, it's increased healing once again, so it's always good to have more healing. This is for disc. I just honestly don't have a conduit. I personally haven't seen that much of a advantage in terms of conduit, so I haven't really farmed anything, but I probably should, especially if I'm gonna go to 2100. I'm sure I want to have all the odds on my end. But yeah, that's nothing good. After this, the condensed atmosphere. When you take damage, heal for 4% of the maximum health. This cannot occur once more than once every 10 seconds essentially. So it's a 4% heal every 10 seconds technically. So I mean, it's extra healing, why not, right? um but yeah, that's basically it for conduit. Now if we go over to a legendary, now you'll notice that my legendary's item level is quite low. I am aware of that. But when it comes down to gold, I'm not the richest person. Like 500 gold in this character is I probably all across my characters, I probably have like 15-20,000 gold right now. So um my legendary is only 225, but it is what it is. Hopefully I can upgrade it soon. With that being said, the legendary that I use, the advantage with that is it works for all three specs of the priest. So um as you can see, it says equip for 15 seconds that you do not cast flash heal. The healing of your next flash heal is increased by 50%, stacking up to 4 times. So what that means is you can basically every minute you can have a 200% flash heal essentially. So it's a very strong flash heal. You see the buff up here, so increase your healing of your next flash heal by 2,200, apologies, 200%. So combining that with the instant flash of light that you get from surge of light once in a while, it's really good, like, to have that extra healing, right? Because I like to have instant cast just because it gives it that extra. So that's for holy, but the advantage with that is it also translates to disc priest with their shadow mend. So shadow mend is exactly the same thing, increased by 50%, stacking up to 4 times. So it makes those shadow mend quite big, especially if you're locked on unholy as a disc priest. You can just pop this massive shadow mend every like minute, and get yourself out of trouble. So I think it's really powerful. But the good thing is also it works with shadow priest. So I don't think you can really go wrong with this legendary. I know a lot of people. I don't even know anyone that plays this, to be honest. But I played this almost since day one of Shadowlands, and I've just loved it since then. And personally, it just gives me that extra holy shit opportunity, right? Not opportunity, but I guess holy shit button, if you want. Um, I believe this basically goes around everything. I've been looking to stack versatility and haste. Um, my haste is not very high, but ideally I want to be at 20% and 20% mastery if possible. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I'm missing. Obviously, I have to upgrade a few pieces here and there. But aside from that, I think that basically does it justice. Yeah. So if you guys enjoy this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment, subscribe, turn on the bell notification. My goal is to be able to do a few more videos. In the next month or so. So, if I see that you guys enjoy these videos, it shows support. So I'm more motivated in making these videos, and then I know that you guys are interested in them. But yeah, with that being said, I want to thank you all for watching. Once again, happy holidays to all of you. Hope everyone is doing well. And if you have any questions or concerns, anything, please don't hesitate to leave a comment down below, and I will answer any and all of your questions below. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.